Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to the governor's executive order, the governor has made a disaster declaration in response to COVID-19. In accordance with 5 ILCS 127E, the head of the public body has determined that an in-person meeting of all individual council members under the Open Meetings Act is not practical or prudent. The Chief Administrative Officer, Joe Wade, will attend in person. The council and members of the public may continue to attend the meeting virtually via Zoom, as attendance in the boardroom is not feasible. In accordance with the applicable statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinances of the city of Prospect Heights, notice hereby given that the city council workshop teleconference meeting of the mayor and the city council of the city of Prospect Heights being held on Monday, April 12, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Mayor Nicholas J. Helmer presiding. This meeting will be recorded and available at the city's website. Attendees who wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items will be provided an opportunity during the teleconference. There will be a 5-minute time limit for speakers, during which teleconference meeting is anticipated. There will be discussion and consideration of, and if so determined, action upon the matters contained in the following.
All right, thank you. Let's see if we can find me. There I am. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. We'll have a roll call by me, making sure that we have a quorum this evening. And to do that, Michelle Cameron, Ward 1. Are you present?
I'm here, Mayor. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening to you. Kathleen Quinn, Ward 2.
Present.
Present. Wendy Morgan Adams, Ward 3.
Yes, good evening, Mayor. I'm present.
All right, thank you. Alderman Danielle Dash is absent by previous notification. Moving back down to Alderman Dolick, Ward 5.
I am here. Good evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening to you. The elected officials include City Clerk Joanna Pajaniuk.
I'm here. Good evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening. City Treasurer Richard Tibbetts. And Nick Helmer, who is me. So when Rich comes on board, we can get back to him. All right, so according to the roll call, we have a quorum. We need 3 aldermen present. We have 4, plus when there is a tie of any kind, the mayor can participate in the voting process this evening. So let's go with Joe Wade. No, let's go with Joanna regarding the minutes that are to be approved.
Mayor, would you like me to do the roll call of the other officials?
No, that'll be under number 5.
Okay.
Just let you
that's
know
okay.
that a little bit earlier.
I got a last minute notice. Okay, we have an approval of minutes for March 22nd, 2021. It is the City Council regular teleconference meeting minutes, and the March 23rd, 2021 Prospect Point Muir Park TIF public hearing minutes.
Motion to approve the 2 items, A and B, under number 2.
So moved. Morgan Adams.
We have a motion. We have a second. Are there questions?
Yeah, there's some corrections. On page 7, there's a typo under sidewalks for Wolf Road. And the last sentence in there is missing something. People need to safe access, so the paragraph under sidewalks. And then on page 8, under the comments, it says that I asked about the redevelopment committee, but actually I asked about the economic development committee.
All right, we'll make those changes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Karen,
Okay.
Karen is doing that right now.
Thank you.
And we will publish a separate set within the next few days. Joe, appointment confirmations and proclamations. What is it?
We have to vote. Roll call.
Okay, Matt always reminds me of that. but thank you, Karen. All we had a motion, we had a second, now we need a roll call for the
Matt,
minutes that were noted.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye, as amended.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
and Alderman Quinn.
As amended.
As amended, thank you. Motion passes 4-0. Now we can move on to Joe.
Good evening, everybody. Mr. Mayor, we have item 3, appointments, confirmations, and proclamations. And we have 2 items, an Arbor Day proclamation to commemorate Arbor Day, April 30th, and a proclamation designating the month of April as Sikh Awareness Month. So that's just a matter of bringing it to the council. If you'd like council approval, we can entertain a motion to approve both.
Let's do that. Motion to approve,
So moved.
second. And that would be for both of them, Joe?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we had a motion, we had a second, and we can call for the roll, please.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. And number 4, Joe?
Yes, sir. Public comment on agenda matters, and we will register individuals to items that they'd like to speak on the agenda. Madam Clerk, has anyone provided information of items they'd like to speak on tonight?
Good evening, Joe. No, I have not, and I do ask if anyone has forgotten to do that or didn't have a chance, and if you're in the audience and would like to say a few words, please speak up at this time. Introduce yourselves, please.
Thank you.
All right, item 5 for our Secretary Joanna Perajniuk.
Sorry. Yeah, we would like to do a roll call of our other officials tonight, and I will call out at this time Finance Director Sherry Grayson.
I'm here.
Thank you. Assistant Finance Director Tainhill.
I'm here. I am
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Is City Administrator Joe Wade.
Yes, thank you.
Assistant City Administrator Peter Falcone.
I'm here.
Thank you. Police Chief Jim Zawacki.
I'm here.
And Director of Building and Development Dan Peterson.
I'm here.
Thank you. Public Works Director Mark Roscoe.
I am here.
And Deputy Clerk Schulteis.
Here.
Attorney John O'Driscoll.
Present.
And I don't have a name, but Digital Communications.
Patrick Colvin.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right,
I'm here.
Sure. Thank you,
I'm
Pat.
here.
All right, we made it. Thank you, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Where are we next, Joe? We were going to ask, hold on. I'm sorry. We were going to ask for comments in item 5. If you notice, officials and commissions reports. So let's back up, Joanna, read them one at a time and let them give a comment if there is any comment.
Do we want to start with the alderman? Or
I'll do the alderman. You go ahead and see what the people that are seated there or
Okay.
are attending.
Okay.
To see what they have to add.
Thank you. Finance Director Sherry Grayson, would you like to, do you have a report?
We'll be addressing the budget at the end of the meeting. It's one of the lower, that's the major thing we'll be discussing for finance tonight. Nothing else.
Oh, okay, thank you. And Assistant Finance Director Cahill?
Just as what Sherry has said towards the end of the meeting.
Okay, all right, you can be together. And City Administrator Joe Wade.
Yes, two items. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., we will have the Joint Review Board meeting. And Monday, April 19th, there will be a public hearing regarding the proposed tax increment financing district. That's at 6:30 p.m. the 19th. If necessary, there'll be a carryover meeting the 20th. And Zoom information for the Joint Review Board meeting has been posted, and public hearing meeting Zoom information will be posted later on the website.
Okay, thank you. Next, Assistant City Administrator Peter Falcone.
No report tonight, but I would like to say that I've gotten the Zoom information up for the public hearing. So all the information is up now on the website for anyone that wants to participate in those meetings.
Thank you, Peter. And Police Chief Jim Zalaki.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few things. First of all, everything's going well over here at the station. Also, April is Distracted Drivers Month. We received a grant from the state that we have extra officers out there enforcing distracted driving, which is cell phone use while driving. I'm sure a lot of other towns have the same grant, so just beware everyone that's out there. A lot of towns have extra officers out enforcing the distracted driving. That's it.
Thank you. Director of Building and Development, Dan Peterson. Dan, are you there?
I had to unmute myself. I'm here now. A couple things to report. Now that we have nicer weather and people are planning their spring and summer remodeling and home improvement projects, it's important that you check with the building department on permit requirements and making sure that you get your information checked before you go and just start working, because we do have zoning requirements that we have to adhere to and building requirements. That's number one. Number two, we've started to see a little uptick in our business usage. I've been speaking with some of our smaller businesses and restaurants, and they're starting to see an uptick in patronage, which is a good sign. So things are going well on that front. And then we've been keeping busy on entertaining calls regarding the Crown Plaza Hotel. No formal decisions have been made yet, but we are working with the property owners, and we'll communicate with you as decisions are made from the ownership group. That being said, I have no other report tonight.
Thank you, Dan. Public Works Director Mark Roscoe, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, elected officials, staff, residents. Real quick tonight, with the many other things that are popular in April, one of the things is Utility Awareness Month for locating underground utilities. As Dan had mentioned, that a lot of people are doing projects right now, reminding people to call 811, which is Julie, for free underground marking of utilities that run from power to telephone to sewer, water. Very important that you know what's underground before you dig. For residents, we ask that being springtime, the rains are coming. Ditches, culverts along your property should be maintained. Pull out any extra leaves or branches, and just kind of be prepared. Folks that have areas that have standing water or manhole covers in their front parkway, they know that they occasionally take water, and we have thousands of them out there in town. So benefit yourself and your neighbors by making sure that that structure is clear in front of your home. If you have any questions, you can always call Public Works. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Happy spring.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Deputy Clerk Karen Schulteis.
Hi, thanks, Joanna. I just have one thing. If you received a letter from the county, you must fill it out before May 1st. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't hear that.
Yeah, can you, something happened to the sound there. Karen, would you be able to just repeat that quickly for us?
Can you hear? Okay, can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not. I'm unmuted. Okay. So I was just gonna say, if you have not completed your statement of economic interest, you only have until, May 1st to complete it. And if you receive something from the county, you're probably already on the second or third, notification. So if you just do it the next few weeks, you'll be fine.
Thank you, Karen. Attorney John O'Driscoll, please.
I have no formal report tonight.
Thank you. And Patrick, Digital Communications, please.
No report, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right, I'm not sure if I've done this or not, but I'd like to do it again if I have done it. Michelle Cameron, any comments?
Yeah, I just have one thing. Tax time. I know this week is where taxes need to be turned in, and I know the IRS and the state of Illinois has extended their tax filing deadline to May 17th for state and for federal. So if anybody was worried about getting their taxes paid by this week, you've got an extra month. So that's it for me tonight, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Kathleen Quinn, please.
Yes, first I want to say happy Ramadan to those in our community who are celebrating. Also, I had one of the residents point out that there is a government website where unclaimed funds can be found, and he would like us to put something in the newsletter or in the quarterly newsletter. And Mayor, he pointed out that you and Gail have some money that you might want to look for in this government unclaimed funds. So I'm going to send the information to Peter, and maybe it's something that we can include on our website so that residents who have unclaimed funds can go ahead and take care of that.
Boy, you can't get away with anything anymore.
But it's money coming back to you, Mayor. That's good news.
Yeah, that is good news. You're right. Wendy Morgan, Ward 3.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, I know she's not here tonight, but I'd like to congratulate Danielle Dash on her winning the election for Ward 4. And also, I just like to state that we had our classic fundraiser for the River City Rotary, which includes Prospect Heights, and it was a very good fundraiser Saturday night. The proceeds for that fundraiser go towards scholarships for our youth and for adult education, and also for Operation Warm. We're getting needy families coats, which they can't otherwise afford for the winter. So there's other humanitarian things that they provide as well, food and other benefits. So I want to say thank you for everybody who attended, who contributed, and who participated. Thank you.
Thank you. All of you probably know Danielle will be sworn in on the John O'Driscoll on the 1st of May. Is that correct?
At the first meeting of May, yes, Your Honor.
First meeting of May. May 10th, is it? Yes. On May 10th, so that'll be good. She's an alderman in the meantime. All right, who's next? Matt Dolick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a brief note. There is a construction project along the east side of Quincy Park on the east side that's extending into Old Willow Road. I believe it's an Illinois American Water project. Mark Roscoe would know more of the details, but my point is that there is a good bit of construction equipment extending into Old Willow. In addition to that, that is a major school route as far as bus pickups and drop-offs along there. And this project is producing some water and a little bit of mud on the roadways. So I would just ask people to use caution when using Old Willow Road there. It's just a word of caution to people. Just be careful in that area with a lot of kids in the area. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
All right, well, let's make sure we have a team group that goes out and takes a look at this. Dan, you, and who else? Mark. We can't just let things happen. If they're absolutely necessary, we may not have a choice. But on the other hand, if we don't bring it to the attention of the people that are infringing on our territory or leaving wet and dirty roads, et cetera. We've got to do something about it. I know, the team members will look into this right away, Matt, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We've got, City Clerk, Joanna?
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you. Yes. Real short, I know people have been wondering and they've been asking, but I'm just going to mention that the Wheeling Chamber has been resurrected. They have a new board, a new president, a new VP. They have a virtual executive director. However, nothing has changed as far as adding Prospect Heights back. It's still an open door. Actually, the president feels it was a bad idea, but it does not appear that it will be reversed anytime soon. Long story short, it was agreed that a workshop would be opened up after I spoke to you, Mayor. Just letting everyone know on this issue, and I really look forward to some of our ideas. Thank you.
Prospect
Thank
Heights
you.
is still part of the chamber. They've never been ousted.
Correct. We're not ousted. I'm just saying that nothing has changed in that predicament as far as our name. So we'll talk more about that when the workshop opens up.
Please follow decorum. If you want to speak, you address the chair. You don't just blurt out and start talking. We are putting this on our workshop meeting. What is the date of that? This item to discuss. What is the date of the workshop meeting? Anyone help me?
May 10th.
May 10th?
That's the next workshop.
That's the next workshop, May 10th. And we can discuss this. I'm not happy with what they did to us. Never was. And it was my opinion that we could form a merchants group that would represent us much better than Wheeling represented us in the first place. So we can talk about all that when it's the appropriate time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
City Treasurer Richard Tibbetts, did we find him?
Mayor, I'm sorry, he wasn't sure if he's going to be able to make it in tonight. I understand he's out of town. He wasn't sure if he'd be able to make the Zoom call. So apparently it hasn't happened.
All right, so he surely didn't make it. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Joe, keep going. You're on item 6.
Oh, yes, well, actually 5, sir. We have the annual budget presentation from Chicago Executive Airport, and with us tonight are the CEA Finance Director, Jason Griffith, as well as the Airport Director, Jamie Abbott.
All right, when you say we're at section 5, we just did that, staff elected officials.
Right, and there's also the listed report on the agenda, fiscal year 2021, 22.
Got it.
Chicago. Okay.
Got it, I see it now. Go ahead.
Jason?
Well, Jason, you want me to start off? I could, Joe, I'll take it from here.
All right, please identify yourself and your position.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Jamie Abbott, Executive Director of the airport, good evening to you and the City Council. Thank you for having us on the agenda tonight. It's good to see you. I can't wait to see you in person in the council chambers, hopefully soon. So, yeah, me and the Finance Director, Jason, are going to kind of partner on this short presentation we have for you tonight. It's about 5 or 6 slides, really hitting the main points of the budget. I want to congratulate Jason once again this year on putting together a really good budget. He's gonna go over some of the details, but I just wanted to kind of start off with that and thank Jason for another great year of putting together a budget for us. Jason, if you want to start off with the first slide, this really didn't change from last year because these are really still our goals at the airport. It's to maintain financial self-sufficiency. And I think both communities that own the airport really like that we're able to do that, and not be a burden on either community or a line in your budget or anything of the sort. So that's our goal, and we were able to do that again this year. So we're kind of proud of that. Also, to plan for our current operational and capital costs, and we were able to do that as well. and to just really be the best general aviation airport in the country is really always at the front of our mind. All right, Jason, here we go. I'll cover this and then I'll turn it over to Jason. But just a quick overview of the process we went through this year. We started a little bit earlier this year. We've done that the last 2 years. So staff actually started putting together a budget late last year in December. It went to the board of directors as a workshop in February, at their meeting in February. From that meeting, we made a few changes. It went back to the board of directors in March for approval by the board and recommendation to both communities. Just as a reminder, the City of Prospect Heights and the Village of Wheeling both have the authority to approve our budget. That's per the IGA. So here we are. It's hard to believe when this comes around. It's been a year since we've come before you to get the budget approved, but we appreciate you putting this on the agenda tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to Jason, and he's going to kind of hit on some highlights of the budget, and then we'll take some questions if you have them, Mayor.
Thank you.
Jason?
Jason Griffith, Director of Finance, Chicago Executive Airport. Quick fiscal year 2022 budgeted overview. The airport is scheduled after reserve fund transfers to have a budgeted net income of $30,250. Total budgeted revenues are at $5.1 million. That's an 11.55% increase from last year's budget. This budget includes increases and is driven by a new long-term lease, increases to Jet A fuel flowage, and other fee increases included a revamped U.S. Customs fee schedule. Operating expenses are budgeted across the departments to be about $3.8 million. That's a 10.23% increase from FY21, and that is driven by hangars 5 and 6. This year is the first year that the airport itself controlled those hangars, and this trues up the utility costs for those facilities. And then U.S. Customs operational expenses increased because they changed how they charge all user fee airports across the country. So there was a significant increase to having the U.S. Customs officer on the airfield. The airport has two items that we have to make sure that we have enough cash on hand. Per the airport business plan, we have to have 3 months of operational expenses on hand at all time. The estimated cash on hand on April 30th at the end of our fiscal year of $3.1 million is sufficient to cover the $954,181 of unrestricted net assets that the airport business plan requires. The airport modified a couple existing revenue bonds, and the new revenue bond for the U.S. Customs facility has a debt covenant requirement in it. That is about $1.88 million. Again, the estimated ending cash on hand of $3.1 million is sufficient to cover those debt requirements. On the capital side, we have our sewer reserve fund that's projected to grow this year and end at about $438,000. The building and land reserve fund is also projected to grow this year, ending at about a little over $1 million. The vehicle and equipment reserve fund, we had budgeted for the purchase of a very large snowblower last year. That was discussed. We put it off for a year, but that is again in this budget. So it looks like it's a small decrease over the life of over the fiscal year for it, and that's driven by that purchase of the new snowblower. The capital repair and demo fund is our newest reserve fund, so we're just trying to grow this one, and it's for eventual major capital repairs such as roofs or demolitions of hangars if when we receive them back from tenants, they're at their end of their useful life. Major capital aid grant projects that we have is the continuation of the RCIP program, and we have a rehabilitation of the airfield lighting that carries over from last year as well. And that's our report.
Thanks, Jason. Great job again this year. Mayor, I'd like to turn it over for any questions from you or city council members.
Let's go to the city council members, please. Michelle Cameron?
Yeah, hi Jamie, it's Michelle.
Good evening.
Hey, I got a question. So, on the budget, so you guys, you last year for the, with COVID and everything, you guys really didn't lose any money, right? And you guys pretty were steady, with the funds. Because didn't you get federal funding as well?
Yeah, so I'll kind of hit on that. The start of the pandemic, we did lose revenue for the first few months of that period. And so, as a reaction to that, we kind of met and did some budget adjustments and cuts and cut out non-essential spending and so forth. There towards the end of the end of summer, we started to get back to normal as far as revenues and operations and so forth. So we recovered a lot quicker than we anticipated we would. And actually, operations these last few months, besides February, because February was off because of the winter weather, but we really recovered pretty well, and we're going to end up the year just a little bit ahead, where we should be. That's kind of what we budgeted. So it balanced out at the end. But yeah, we took a hit in revenues just like most airports at the beginning, and it's going to end up the year's going to end up just fine for us. It looks like we did receive one grant. It was from the CARES Act. It was Jason, correct me. I think it was $157,000.
Right.
Kind of unique. Most of our grants go towards capital projects like infrastructure, like taxiways and so forth. The CARES Act grant was kind of unique because we were allowed to use that towards operational expenses. So we kind of balanced that out with operational. So that did help as well. So.
Oh, okay. And how much? So that was 157. So you were a couple months. So was that going to wash it out? I don't know how much you lost. Like how much did you lose in the first couple months?
Yeah, it was. Jason, do you have any idea? It was. That definitely helped fill the gap. Go ahead, Jason.
And was it?
Even without the CARES money, we're on pace to actually beat fiscal year 2021's budgeted revenues. And we internally aggressively cut costs where Jamie and I had to sign off on any purchase greater than $25, which significantly cut down on just operational expenses. So unaudited, we're doing very well, and we should be ahead of where we were projecting our fiscal year 2021 budget.
Okay, so the 157 that you got for the CARES Act was used for operational because that's how much you guys lost in the first couple months.
Well, that was
correct?
just a prescribed amount for our type of airport. So all GA airports across the country, like ours, it was a very prescribed. We all got 157,000. So it was a formula that the FAA calculated. So we weren't unique in that amount. Every GA airport in the country got the same amount to use towards operations. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's
it. Kathleen, Flynn?
Yeah, hi, Jamie. Listen, I just had one quick question.
Sure.
On the overtime, and it's on page 54 of our packet, but 23 of yours, I think. I noticed that you guys budgeted $78,000 because obviously the overtime's required for the snow removal.
Right.
And last year it looks like you used $12,000. But why such a significant amount of money? I mean, was last year so low because the airport was shut, or?
Yeah, and you're right. Overtime really is an indication of winter operations. That's really the hit to our overtime budget. Last winter, yeah, I don't think we had a snowstorm bigger than 4 or 5 inches. So we had a lot of smaller systems. And we were going into this budget year really well until February, first week of February. And then those 3 weeks, boy, it was like we were running 24/7 snow ops. And that really took a toll on the overtime budget. So it's, boy, you know, you budget what you think you might use, and then some years it just, you know, it's worse than others. So that's a tough one, but that's where all the overtime really goes.
And is the snow removal done by your staff, or is it a contractor?
It is. It's all done by anything inside the fence. So,
okay, got it. Okay.
Yep, runways, taxiways, ramps, and everything. The only thing we contract out is a very small contract, which is some of our access roads and parking lots.
Okay.
But, yep, you're welcome.
Thank you. Wendy Morgan Adams, please.
Yes, Jamie, I have a question regarding the fuel flowage fees. So you said it's the Jet A fuel flowage rates budgeted increased to 22 cents for on airport fuel. So my question is, and 44 cents for off airport fuel. My question is, how much of that 22 cents on airport fuel and 44 cents for off airport fuel do you get to keep, and how much goes to taxes?
That is the entirety of the 22 cents on and 44 cents off. That's all ours. It goes into our general fund, so to speak. So that is one of the chunks of revenues that we use to operate the airport. So we don't touch taxes. That's we're not even privy to kind of the tax situation on the airport. So that is strictly a fuel flowage to us, and that is 100% our revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Matt?
Thank you, sir. No additional questions. I was just pleased to see that the figures came out as well as they were. I was expecting more of a hit over the past year due to the COVID issues, but I'm pleased with this. So I have no additional questions. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Let's have a motion to approve the budget for the airport as presented.
So moved. Morgan Adams.
Second.
All right, let's try it again. Who's moving?
Morgan Adams, so moved.
And who's second?
Flynn, second.
Got it. And then any other discussions? There being none, let's go ahead and take a roll call.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Jamie, you did a good job with your people. I've met them, I've talked to them, they know what they're doing, and that's critical. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
and enjoy the coming year without some of the problems you had last year.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City
Thank
Council.
you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, Joe, back to you.
Yes, sir. Item 6 is the consent agenda, routine items, and we'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second,
we
Cameron.
have a second. And any further questions, we can take a roll call.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Under old business, Joe, take it from there.
No old business, but moving along to item 8A. This is a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the city, Prospect Heights School District number 23, and High School District number 214 regarding the Prospect Point Muir Park Tax Increment Financing District. And Mr. Mayor, this first of all, I want to say what this is not. We are not approving the TIF tonight. There are other steps to go. But this is a key cornerstone, and the challenge of this TIF is providing needed resources to developer, which meets the state Tax Increment Financing Act, meaning that absent this level of TIF assistance, assistance, the redevelopment plan could not occur. That's the first leg of it. The second is to provide financial impact assistance to such school districts, the elementary and high school district, and we've reached an agreement with both school districts. The agreement provides for 40% of the incremental revenues during the life of the TIF to be distributed to District 214 and District 23. 23 would receive 27%, and the larger high school district would receive 13%, as well as there's an $81,000 impact fee. So that takes care of what is sometimes known as a make-whole payment. And then the third leg of the challenge of the TIF is making sure that there's money available to do the community capital improvements that we've identified in the plan. And these are the stormwater management improvements, the sidewalk network in the area, as well as improvements to the Prospect Heights Park District for Muir Park. So this agreement tonight takes care of the school districts. It's an important leg of the larger project. It will be brought to the Joint Review Board tomorrow, and we are anticipating asking for a vote tomorrow, which would then bring this matter to the council with a public hearing. Public hearing would be taken care of, and then at a later date it would come before the council for decision on whether to approve the TIF or not. So that's the roadmap ahead of us, but this is a very important cornerstone.
All right, thank you. Any questions, please? This is just a report, not a request for a motion, right?
No, this is an actual action item, sir. We're requesting approval of the agreement and resolution authorizing the agreement.
All right, let's ask for that. Do we have a motion to do that?
Motion to approve item 8A.
Second, Adam.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn,
No.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
So motion passes 3-0. Have I got that right?
3-1.
3-1, I'm sorry, yes. Motion passes 3-1. Thank you. Moving on.
And Mayor, before moving on, I just really want to thank both school districts, their representatives, as well as their attorney. They worked very hard and they really worked to understand the nature of this TIF, and they were just a pleasure to work with through this process. So, at that being said, we move on to item 8B. And this is a requested waiver of a first reading of an ordinance approving the annual official zoning map. We do this every year. It's a state law requirement to update the zoning map. First is the requested waiver, and then the item C is second reading. So we'll entertain a motion first to waive first reading.
All right, let's do that. Let's have a motion to approve.
So moved, Morgan Adams.
So that we can vote on it later. And
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion?
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
So, there's an R1A PUD and an R1A, which is, the R1A says commercial specialties. And that looks to be on this map, it's kind of hard to see, but it looks like that's right at Euclid. What is that? Because it's residential there, or is that where Brookdale is?
Mayor, I can answer that. This is Director Peterson.
Go ahead.
Good question, Alderman Quinn. You are correct. That is the zoning property where the Brookdale, it's now changed its name in the last, month.
Yeah.
That is the R1A, and that is where those types of facilities fall in our zoning code. And that's been the zoning for a long time.
Okay, and then I have a question. Is this development for Lexington is going to be an R1A PUD? Is that not on the zoning map because it's not decided?
No, if you look up at the top where Muir Park is, the zoning board approved the R2 PUD, which is the requested zoning, and city council approved that this summer. So that zoning entitlements and zoning approvals were the first step in the process, and they were voted on, and they had requested that. So that's why you see the R2 PUD up in the center part where Muir Park is. And that is one of the two changes to the zoning map. The other one was the cleanup of that public right-of-way we did about a month ago.
So I just have a question is, why is the R2 is residential multifamily, and then the R1A is planned unit development? Is that because there are rental units there?
No, the PUD just stands for planned unit development. And when Lexington requested the R2 based zoning, they also requested a special use to create the planned unit development, just like the Rob Roy townhomes came in as a R1A based zoning, but a planned unit development so they could get additional zoning relief. In the case of the Lexington project, their zoning relief was very minimal. I think there were 3 small variations that were granted on property lot lines on that. I'm not familiar with all the PUD requirements of the Rob Roy. That was done back in the 80s, maybe even earlier. That I'm just not familiar with all those planned unit development variations or relief were.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we need a motion to waive the first reading, is that correct?
We have the motion in a second.
Well, the motion is there?
We need the roll call.
Yeah. All right, the motion to waive first, roll call, please.
Alderman Morgan Adams?
Aye.
Alderman Quinn?
Aye.
Alderman Dolick?
Aye.
Alderman Cameron?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Now we move the same issue to a final reading called the second reading. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. We need a second.
Second. Cameron.
Alderman Cameron has the second. Any further discussion on that? If there is none, then let's go ahead with the roll call.
Alderman Dolick?
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams?
Aye.
Alderman Cameron?
Aye.
Alderman Quinn?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Joe, back to you.
All right, sir, thank you. Which brings us to the next item is requested waiver of first reading, and this is an ordinance approving the variance at 305 Lancaster. This is a corner lot which is requesting a variance in order to construct a room addition. Director Peterson had worked with the petitioner, and they were approved at the Plan Commission and Zoning Board, and it's understood there were no neighborhood objections. So we have a requested waiver of first reading so that they can commence their project, and then the follow-up item is second reading of the ordinance.
I'll make a motion.
All right, motion to...
I make a motion to waive the first reading.
all right, second. We have a motion, we have a second. Discussion. Roll call to waive the first reading.
Alderman Jolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. So we moved the first reading. We're looking for the second reading now. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This is Director Peterson. Should any, Mr. Winterhalter is online, should there be any questions, but really quickly, this is a very unique lot because it's almost perfectly square. The original house was set back further than the 40-foot lot line, and placed the house at its 50-foot rear yard lot line. If you look at this house in the orientation, you'd think the front yard was along Lancaster. In reality, the front yard is along Willow Road. So the first relief was to define the front yard as Lancaster, making the rear yard to the east and the side yard along Willow and the side yard to the south. The ZBA recognized this and recommended granting that relief. As such, the applicant is requesting a small 18-foot variation into the new rear yard to the east and a compliant addition, which would be on the south end. Peter, if you could go to the next slide, please. So in this particular case, the new rear yard would be at the top of the page, and that's going to be for a screened-in porch and some decks, so there would be 30 feet of grass. Willow Road is now a compliant large side yard. The west is a compliant front yard, and then the addition on the south would be a compliant addition and a compliant side yard. So the ZBA recommended 4-0 to recommend the variations as presented, and staff concurred. If anybody has any questions, either myself or Mr. Winterhalter is available to answer.
All right, if you have a question, identify yourself and ask your question.
This is Alderman Cameron. I had a question. So are they just putting up a deck? What are they putting up? Just like a deck and a sunroom or something, or?
No, if you look at this diagram,
I'm trying to look at small.
Yeah, the whole right half. It's kind of hard. The coloring is, you tried to put it in, but the house, existing house, kind of stops with the edge of the garage. Everything to the right of the existing, which has diagonal hash marks, is all new construction. There's a proposed new one-car garage, a proposed addition, and a proposed one-story screen porch. All of that to the right, by changing the definitions, makes that compliant for an addition in a side yard. They still maintain their 15-foot interior side yard. So at the end of the day, if they would not have changed the definitions, that would have been a 33-foot variation instead of an 18-foot variation for the screen porch. So at the end of the day, we have larger compliance and a lesser variation granted by what was proposed and a recommended approval.
Okay. And they put in a bathroom in or anything? Like, is that going to do anything with plumbing or sewers?
The hardship is they're building, this part of this is to have, and Matt, please add in at this time, but it's to be able to take care of parents.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, add a bedroom and bathroom on the first floor.
Matt, could you please identify yourself for the record?
Yeah, this is Matt Winterhalter. And that's correct. To add a bathroom and bedroom on the first floor there.
All right,
And,
anyone else?
well,
Go ahead.
my question is there, like, you know, when you're adding on to additions and stuff like that, is that gonna, you know, with all the issues that we have with sewers and stuff, is that gonna have any issues, you know, adding extra rooms, you know, with plumbing and stuff like that?
No, that was
I know.
evaluated under the building permit reviews, and the sewer lines are in great shape. He has well capacity to accommodate the addition. That's been reviewed and inspected already.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we're still on the first reading for a vote to come. Anyone else? All right, let's get a motion to pass. Have we done that already? Pass it? Yes. We have. So we're looking for a vote.
Move the second.
Right, to the waiver of the first.
We've already waived that one.
Okay, so we're on the second. All right, final approval to go ahead with this project, call the second reading. Please make a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second, Cameron.
We have a motion, we have a second. And let's take the roll call, please.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn,
Aye.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank
Joe?
you very much.
Thank you. Good luck with your new addition.
We'll be in touch, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, what's next, please? Joe, for staff and ordinance directing the sale of a property, second reading. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's actually requested waiver of first reading, first, and it's, for sale. We want to put up for auction a police vehicle. This was a vehicle we, seized in a drug, issue. We'd like to declare it surplus property and put it up for sale. It's a 2007 Lexus.
So this is a 2007 Lexus. I see that here. All right, so let's have a motion to waive the first reading, please.
Motion to waive first reading.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? There being none, take a roll call, please.
Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes 4-0. Jim, this is a squad car, right?
No, it was a vehicle we had seized, and we used it for DEA used it, and then we used it for undercover, and then we recently seized another newer vehicle, so we no longer need this one. We're using the newer one.
Keep on seizing, son. All right.
Yeah, we went from an 07 to a 2018 vehicle, so we upgraded quite a bit.
Good. All right. So we go to item G, which is the second reading on this issue. Can we have a motion to approve that, please?
So moved, Morgan Adams.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any other questions? Unless you want to buy it, we can take the roll call.
Okay. Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Anyone left? And that means the motion passed 4-0. Item H, we have a Joe, what do we have there?
Yes, sir. We're trying to clear out Public Works tonight. These also requested waiver of first reading of miscellaneous equipment and tools in Public Works, so we could declare those surplus property for sale as well. And requested waiver first and then adoption of the ordinance second.
All right, a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, Morgan Adams.
We have a motion, we have a second. Questions? I have a question. Who buys old tools?
Oh, this is Mark Roscoe.
Mark?
It goes to auction,
Yeah.
and contractors may want to buy them for parts for other equipment they have, or startup companies that just need something. But unfortunately, or fortunately, when we're done with it, it's pretty much done.
All right, so there is a market for that. All right, thank you. Let's move on and talk about what we're going to talk about. The second reading of the stuff from Public Works. We have a motion to approve item I, 02111.
Oh,
Who said that?
John.
John said that. Caught me again. Okay, let's have a roll call.
Okay. Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Doler,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Now we can move on to the second reading, I presume. So let's have a motion to approve the second and final reading on this issue.
Motion to approve item 02111.
Got it?
Second, Morgan Adams.
And we have that. So we have the motion. We have the second for the sale of surplus property. And presuming there is no other question on this issue, let's have a roll call.
Alderman Doler,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Joe, under item J, would you tell us what that's all about?
Oh, yes, sir. This is an ordinance, it's an annual ordinance, it's in conjunction with our budget, and it establishes the city pay plan, employees' compensation. And this is only for our non-collective bargaining staff, Mr. Mayor, which is primarily City Hall, our management employees of police, non-collective bargaining, the chief, deputy chief, as well as Public Works Director. We're proposing a 2% increase for those that are not in collective bargaining agreements. And it's first reading tonight.
Right. All right, so there's no vote, or we could have a discussion. Anyone want to talk about this? That's J02112. Okay, we don't need a roll call. Let's move on to item K. Joe?
K is the first reading of the ordinance adopting the city's budget, and this follows the budget hearings or budget presentations we've had. It's the first reading. Now, the second reading, I want to stress, we're asking for a 6:15 public hearing start. The public hearing is required by state law, and we're proposing that for the next meeting, April 26th, be a public hearing of the budget, and then an ordinance, the same ordinance adopting the budget. But tonight is only first reading. We thank you for all the council members for the time you spent and recent meetings in the last month or 6 weeks, and offered good insight and questions. Certainly, Sherry Grafen is on the call tonight. If there are any other questions about the budget or the budget process, she's happy to entertain them. And if there are no questions, we can move on as it's only first reading.
Right, okay, thank you, let's do that. Any questions? Moving on to, the next issue, Joe.
Next item is 9, discussion topics. That's actually coming up for the workshop meeting. And I think earlier we identified the situation of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. So that'll be on the 10th, is that right?
Correct, yes.
All right, so we have a discussion there. City clerk will have some input. She's been trying to follow up the former matchup of Wheeling and Prospect Heights Chamber of Commerce and other ideas she'll bring to the table. We're into approval of the expenses then, right?
That is correct, yes.
All
the
right,
approval of
let's go
warrant,
with-
Madam Clerk.
Okay, thank you. The total of the warrants was $366,115.37. Wire payments on March 26, 2021, the payroll posting amounted to $152,509.80. March 18, 2021, the police pension funding amounted to $83,103.34. March, Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund was in the amount of $23,351.75, bringing the total warrant amount to $625,080.26. For council's approval, please.
Motion to
All right.
approve as presented.
Thank you, and then we need a second.
Second, Morgan Adams.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Alderman Dolick.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Public comments on non-agenda matters. Are there any? 5-minute time limit. Peter, have you got anyone registered on that?
No, Mayor, thank you. Not at this time. But is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak?
All right, then let's go ahead and I hereby proclaim there is no executive session. Action not necessary. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Aye.
Who is calling? Who is voicing something?
I made a motion
No one?
to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
that's great. You two win the prize. Let's have a voice vote by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The meeting has ended. Thank you for your attendance.